welcome to the Glow Up Method. This is the place where we talk all things personal growth, personal development, self-improvement, self-empowerment on this journey to live a life that makes us proud. Hello, hi there. My name is Natasha and I will be your host today, and I am so excited to be here. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. It's been a few days. I usually film every day, and I even proactively filmed on a Friday, which usually I don't film ahead. I usually am I'm going to film in real time. But I was trying something new, but then I didn't have any opportunity Sunday. Monday was a holiday. And so here we are on Tuesday, and actually my son has a game. And so I was going to go there, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to quickly go rush off because this house that Chris is in, which I'm still in his house, is there's no secrets. The acoustics is very, I don't know, whatever, but there's no secrets. Everybody can hear everything. And so I really don't like doing this, with him in an earshot of me. So I'm like, okay, let me quickly come back and do it. So that's what I'm doing. I've had so many unexpected experiences these last few days. Some were great, some were really challenging. And, I'm really trying to learn how to just take, the punches as they come. And, what I'm seeing is that quote, if you change the way that you view the world changes, right? My world changes. I see situations. So I can say, I see Chris differently. Therefore, we've been behaving differently, and the way he's different, it's different. But then I apply that same principle to my relationship with my daughter, and it's very different. And I'm seeing it in two different ways. She's not ready to forgive me. She's not in a position where we want to move forward. It's more you've done this, she's still in the part of the phase where she needs to blame me and tell me everything I did wrong. And I'm in the part of the phase where I'm honestly, I'm exhausted. I'm tired. And I will be the first one to raise my hand and say, I am an imperfect parent. I did the best I could with the tools I had at the time. I'm an imperfect friend. I'm an imperfect person. I'm an imperfect wife. I'm an imperfect daughter. I mess up every single day. I do something in somebody's eyes that's wrong. And perhaps even in my own eyes, sometimes that's wrong. And I'm getting okay with being wrong. I'm just doing my best, and I'm doing my best to get by. And that's all I can do. And if you want to sit here and nitpick and see every flaw in me, believe me, there's going to be a lot of flaws that you're going to be able to find. But if you want to see the good and the nurturing and the love and the intentions I have, you will see that too. And it's up to that person to want to forgive. At the same time, I had this dear friend, one of the friends I've told you about. She gave me one of the best gifts in life. One of my sons, when he was struggling with his brain tumor, I remember going out in the driveway. She had brought him over. I believe it was a piece of cheesecake or something. And I went out there and I just broke down. It was a day much like today, where it was garbage day. So I was by my garbage cans. And I had been holding so much in from the experience and being strong and thinking everything is fine, everything is okay. And hearing, telling her, having this vulnerability and being when she asked how I was, I just started bawling, and I'm I'm not good. I messed up my kids. One kid has a broken heart, one kid has life-threatening allergies, one has mental health things, and now this one has a brain tumor. We should have never had kids. I really messed them up. And I, being the mom, was I cooked them. So I have a little bit more of a, influence on how they're going to come up. This is just what I was thinking, in my mind at that time. And I was I messed them up. I should have never had them. And she just looked at me and she gave me the biggest hug. And she's no, literally God or source, whatever you want to believe, knew you could handle it. They knew they were perfectly chosen for you. And it was this shifted perspective, right? This change from going of this victim of somebody who did something bad. I'm a mom. I was supposed to hold them in my uterus. My first son, I couldn't do that. And then the second daughter, almost couldn't. Second child, who happens to be my daughter, I almost couldn't keep her, and I was on bed rest. And then the third and fourth ones, I had to have surgeries just to keep them in. I already failed before I even started in so many ways. And I just wanted to do everything right by them. And, you know, in most ways, the boys, a lot of times they're easy. Like, okay, yeah, you know what, or if I mess up, it's like, they'll tell me and maybe they'll hold it against me for the rest of my days and, come up in a joke or things like that. But it's forgiven, it's forgotten, because they do know that in the scheme of life that there has been more good I do than the few things that I lose my mind and I, yell and I feel, like triggered and, and I don't know if it's more difficult and challenging with my daughter, since I never had a healthy mother-daughter relationship, like few and few moments in between was my mom's and I's relationship good. And, so like, is it because of that? Like, I don't know how to talk to her and I don't know how to show up. And there's just so much expectations of me to like get it right. And I didn't, do these things right. And she's like this mirror of every one of my insecurities that like, as a mom that I thought I was doing good and right. Like she was this mirror being like, nope, you did it wrong. No, you did this. And it's so exhausting. It's so tiring that like, I just want to give up at this point. I don't want to give up on her. Like, it's like, I can't, like, I don't know. Like, it exhausts me. It exhausts me. And I get it. Like she's going through her own things, right? Some things she doesn't want to tell me, some things she does want to tell me. So I don't know what her full experience is. And all I know is, what she tells me. And I feel really bad for the parts in which I have exasperated anything that makes her feel bad. And, I'm working really hard. So again, when I say this, like, yes, if you change the way you see the world, like your world changes, right? So I have these two instances where Chris very much used to bring out this same emotion that I'm currently feeling right now with my daughter. It was like, I'm not good enough. I'm trying everything. And it was like, it's all of these negative kind of interactions. And then it happened to be Chris and I have changed at the same time, or are willing to accept what we can't change. And we're not going to sit here and be like, you did this and you did this. And we know that conversations need to be had at some point, but we're also just enjoying having a positive conversation and interaction. And it's really, really tough. And I can see where my daughter, where I'm doing the same things, but yet I'm not. I don't know. It's really, really confusing and hard. And it's a difficult space to be in for me. It's very conflicting because I just want the peace. And whenever I go home and I'm around her, it's turmoil. And I feel like I'm choosing peace. I feel like I want the peace. And everything I say, like, is like an attack. It feels like an attack on me. And then of course, because I feel attacked, then I'm trying to defend myself. And then I'm also trying to validate her and all these things. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. And so like, part of me is like, how do we just separate one from one another? Like, I don't want to be in this, like, I'm finally in peace with Chris and I'm in peace with my boys, but now I'm in this extreme chaos with my daughter. And I don't want to be. I really want to be in peace. And I want to have a relationship again. It's been years since her and I have done something together. I mean, she does it not for sake. I mean, I ask her all the time, you want to go for a walk? You want to go to the gym? You want to go to dinner? You want to go to lunch? Like, I ask her constantly if she wants to do something with me. And if she chooses not, that's okay. But it's not really okay. Like, it hurts my feelings. Like, I feel sad that this relationship that means so much to me is on the brink of, whatever, that it's something that when I see her, it's like, well, how are we going to be? And so, I feel sad too, like an extra layer sad, because she's my daughter and I don't want to see her hurt. And if she's hurt because of something I said or did, that makes it 10 times worse. I don't want to hurt her. I just want to love her and I want her to feel loved and happy. And I want her to see her through my eyes. That is beautiful and so helpful and kind and generous and, like, doesn't have to hold on to all the harsh things that she holds on to. And she has that right. Like, I can't control her, but I know what it's like to be like that because I've been that way. I've been that way where I have just not had the power to let go of what has happened in the past. I know what it's like to hold on to these things and view somebody differently because of these preconceived notions. And I know how challenging it is to work through it, right? Because, you know, there is an element of, I have to trust somebody I don't trust right now. Like, I have to believe the things that he's saying because I want to. Like, I feel, but I feel like in some ways, because there's honesty, I trust him now more than ever, if that even makes sense. But then there's times like last night where it's like, I must not, because, you know, I had a really bad dream, and I woke up and I felt so deceived and betrayed and dishonored, and I laid there in bed at 4 a.m, and I was like, just thinking about everything in life and what was kind of going on and where I was, and the fact that somehow I'm now laying in Chris's bed, and we're not in our house. And again, my house is still contaminated. My oldest son was in the doctor's today. And so, you know, I've been home, but I've been outside, like cleaning out the garage, cleaning out the courtyard, cleaning out whatever I can, you know, cleaning in the kitchen, doing things to like limit my own exposure, because mama's got to stay healthy. Mama's got to figure out a way to pay the bills and survive right now. Like my head is spinning. Plus I'm now dating this person who, oh yeah, by the way, happens to be my husband, who is, you know, like, it's all a hot mess, you know? And so you're probably sitting there like, why am I tuning in and listening to her? Like, she needs to be listening to somebody else. And here's the thing. Life is life. It is imperfect. And the idea that I can expect a perfect daughter or a perfect relationship with my daughter, or a perfect spouse, it's just not there. They all take a lot of work. I mean, Chris and I have been putting in work. We've been spending a lot of time together. And the beauty of it is, I really wanted to see, and in some ways I'm like, maybe this illness was exactly what we needed, because I'm like, well, it's all fine and dandy when I go back to my house and you go back to yours. But again, I found myself missing him. And in this experience right now where the kids have been sick, my room has been given up and all these things. And I, and by choice or whatever, to keep, you know, people all in their own spaces. But, being here where I'm like going to sleep and wake, like, you're dealing with real life stuff. But it also reminds me of like, okay, well, what were some of my triggers? Well, some of my triggers, the difference here is like, he's helpful, right? It's his house. So he's, you know, cleans the dishes, he helps cook. Like, it's not all on me. And I start to feel that when everything is on me, that's when I start to feel this trigger, or when everything is on me and I, you know, like when I get home, I'm not as calm. I'm not as relaxed, because there's so many things that I got to get this done. My battery died. I've got to find time to go to Costco, get a new battery. Like, you know, I've had these things just going, kids are getting sick, making doctor's appointments, getting people to practice. Oh, by the way, my practice is in 45 minutes, you know, like, it's been last minute. Everything has been off, and, I'm doing my best, and it's really tough sometimes, but I really do feel that, yes, when I have these interactions, when I go and I have to deal with this reality of the relationship with my daughter, that's a challenge. But there's great things. I went on a beautiful walk with one of my sons, and we got to chat and talk about things. And, you know, I'm working through a lot of things. So I ended up missing my friend. So my sweet friend that I was telling you, she was the one who gave me the gift of saying, you know, the kids were chosen for you. And it really shifted the way I thought about things. And I no longer felt like I was a bad mom. I no longer thought I was this bad creative person and, you know, gave them some messed up genes. I did the best I could with the tools I had. I didn't know, I had no control. I didn't pick the genes that they got. And if I did, I would have picked different ones probably, right? But I definitely wouldn't have picked like one with like tumors and broken hearts. Like, what? Oh no, of course not. So, you know, going through that. So her and I were really good friends. Like, we were also friends too, which we had discussed. We were both larger women. And there's a comfort in that. You know, I don't know if you've ever struggled with your weight or have ever been like at 300 pounds or close to, but you know, it's like this scan, like, am I the biggest person in the room? You know, like bonding over not being able to fit into the, middle school desks when you went in for back to school night, that embarrassment, or the embarrassment of being on a roller coaster, or, whatever it was, like we, had bonded over that. And when I started to lose weight, there was a shift, and she was very honest with me about it. And, she was, talking about how, it's like, it shows all her own insecurities and things like that. And I appreciated the vulnerability, but I'm like, girl, I'm still me. Like, I'm still going to eat whatever. Like, don't even worry. Like, I am still me 100,000,000%, I just now love to dance, and I make sure I get my 10,000 steps in, whatever. And, that was my kind of like take on it. And she ended up moving, so we didn't live close to each other anymore. And, I was really private with like some of the things that had happened at that time. I was really ashamed, and I had a lot of guilt. And I really had this belief that if I just went along and I was like, everything is fine, everything is okay, and I got really good at sending out my representative. And my representative was told to never talk about Chris cheating on me when we were, younger. My representative was never to talk about any of our personal problems, any intimacy issues, anything like that. Like my representative went out there and represented the best she could, like a good lawyer. She wasn't, she was pleading the fifth. Like she was not doing all that. Number one, I didn't want to talk about things I was living. I was like, listen, it's bad enough to live it. I don't want to think about it again. Number two, I just feel so empathetic. Like I feel my friends' pains. I feel my kids' pains. So I did not, like in a form of way to protect you and then therefore protect me. I'm not going to tell you my stuff because now you might get upset or mad. And then I'm going to get upset or mad depending on whatever your response is. So let's just cut the chase. But I was a very good listener. I was a very good supporter of her and her things that was going on. And, later on in life, there had been a situation where, her husband came out, he had an affair, he should have just laid all the cards out flat right then and there. Like, just pull the freaking Band-Aid off. I know it's going to hurt. You don't want to hurt the person. Just let it all out. Like, let it all out. But no, it like came out like, it was like, oh, it was 6 weeks, and then like, there's healing from that. And then, oh, wait, no, it was 3 years, like it just was this very elongated healing process because it was like she was told something, she would start to heal, learn how to learn how to trust, again and all that stuff. And then the actual real truth would come out again, and it still wasn't the real truth. It was like years of this until like she knew the full story, and so much so that I don't even know if she knows the full story. I don't even know if he knows the full story at this point. But it was a really challenging time for her, and I was there by her side, thick or thin, like I was there with her and for her. And, during that time, that's when I felt like, okay, I'm willing to share this side of me, to give her some kind of hope and say, like, not all affairs have to end. Like, they can. There's no problem in that. There's nothing wrong with it. But if you want to heal, like, it is possible. This happened to me, and, our relationship isn't perfect, and there's a lot of things that need to be worked on. But here's where we are. And I just felt like that was the time I wanted to be vulnerable. And for her, one of the things for her was she didn't feel like she could trust me because I didn't tell her sooner. And I had, left her with the impression that we were this happy, beautiful couple when actually we had challenges of our own. And that's made it really hard for her to trust me again. So she, has withdrawn. And, I had been reaching out to her recently, and she finally responded to me today and was like, honestly, I need to be able to trust you. And, you didn't tell me, and that was fine. But I just going forward, I just can't get over that. And that's fine. Like, I was like, you know what? I appreciate you telling me. I respect your opinion. Like, I just want you to know I did the best I could at the time with the tools I had. I've done tremendous growth since then. This stuff was, 2020, pre-2020, like long time ago, stuff. So like, I've grown tremendously since then, but I honor where you're at and your opinion and stuff like that. And I will always be very thankful for you giving me the gift of saying that the kids were, chosen specifically for us. And, I wish you, your husband and the kids the absolute best. And, you know, so it's been a really interesting day to see, like, you know, where I am with Chris and where I am with this friend and then where I am with my daughter. And it's like, there's so many different ways people can go and there isn't any right answers. And I want a relationship. I so desperately want a relationship with my daughter, but I'm also, I don't know, I need to do a lot of work and think, and I need to see like, what is it my boundaries are. And I think that's the hardest part, is like, not the boundaries. I don't think if even the boundary is the right word. It's like, what do I need from the relationship, and communicate that. I think for so long with my kids, the relationships have been one-sided, right? It's been like mom does everything. Mom helps everything. And the kids can come up with their own ideas, and I can be like, hey, you know, once you're no longer dependent on taxes, X, Y, and Z may happen. And then it becomes like, well, you don't want me to do that, and you're trying to manipulate me. I'm like, I'm not, you know, I'm just trying to tell you what the facts are, but I actually don't really know the facts. So like, things may change. You need to take the time. I'm not going to sit here and invest my time and energy that I don't have a lot of just left available, like you know, like, you figure it out. Like, you are an adult now, and you make adult decisions, and you have adult consequences. I don't know. And all I know is my best, like, you know, like two times, and the kids, my 25 and 23-year-old in the last day was like, well, you didn't tell me how to do this. And it was like, nobody taught me how to use the app either for the medical doctor appointment. And nobody told me, you know, how to do the tax. These things were all learned on my own. I had nobody holding my hand, and yes, I'm here to help you, but I'm not going to, there's only so much I can do. Like, sometimes I'm busy and I'm unable to help you exactly when you need the help. And you're going to need to figure it out and find the resources available to you if it's not me. Like, so there's just been a lot of pressure on me. And I think for so many years, I had that pressure on myself. And so I'm changing, right? And I'm changing the way I see me. I'm changing the way in which I parent. And I'm changing the role in which I take on. I'm really realizing, having this opportunity to be here, and in a way, you know, like, went to Costco, I was at the house today, putting away groceries, you know, like, I was there for hours doing laundry, all these things like that. But not being there as often as I am usually, like, and then leaving over here to do my work, or leaving over here to go to sleep, or whatever it is, because I can't be there right now. Like, I'll go to a soccer game after this, but like, having this shifted perspective has given me this opportunity to see, like, people can help out there. Like, everything that happens in that household does not need to fall on my shoulders. And I know that that's been the default setting. And I think in some ways, this illness, this reconciliation experiment with Chris has been the best blessing. It has been a beautiful blessing in my life. Number one, I'm actually really enjoying his companionship. And that is just a very sweet and enduring thing. I feel in some ways like a kid again. Like, in some ways, I feel like a kid again, but yet a kid who has the courage to say what they want. Like, if I want a hug, like last night after the dream, like, I laid there and I by default setting, by my right-handed setting, I wanted to just sit there and I wanted to say nothing, because Natasha figures it out. Natasha's having anxiety right now. I'm feeling very, like, almost like a panic attack, you know, after waking up abruptly from this dream. I'm in a bed that's unusual, but kind of starting to feel usual. I've got Chris next to me, you know, and I just felt like everything was hitting me that was going on in my life. Like, am I making the right decisions? Like, you know, it was like kind of like this dream really startled me. And, you know, there was a part of me is like, I just want to hug Chris. Like, I just want to hug him, but he's asleep and I don't want to disturb him. And like I said before, it's like, I would rather be uncomfortable than to share that with somebody and bother making them uncomfortable, because then if they're uncomfortable, then I have to fix it, or have to feel uncomfortable, because not only am I uncomfortable, now I made them, and I feel bad because I made them feel bad. And it was this whole story. And I was like, stop it. Like, if you want to hug, if you need to cuddle, go ahead and cuddle. Like, if you want to hug, it's free to say that. So like, he kind of moved a little bit and I was like, can I have a hug? And he rolled right over and gave me a hug. It was not any of the things I worked it up to be. And I felt like in that second, like I could just breathe again. I could take a break from what this dream was. I could be here in reality where I'm just in his arms and everything is safe and fine. I'm okay. And that gave me a lot of comfort to know that I could say it and that I could receive and be given a response that felt safe. And it wasn't like any harm in it. And so I really, really appreciated that so much today. And, you know, it just goes to show people can change. And I really want my relationship with my daughter to change. And I know that that change is going to begin with me. So I need to do some self-reflection because I can tell I'm so wound up and anxious that when I come at her and she's comes at me, like, it's just, no matter what I say in a text, no matter what I do, the face-to-face interactions are so hostile and, you know, fluctuating sometimes. It just brings out a side of me that I am not proud of. And that hurts. Like, that is really disappointing to myself, and I really want to grow and learn from it. So, like, everything I've done from this minute backwards, I can't undo and I can't change. I can say I'm sorry. I can learn from it. I can want to be better. Like, I do. And I can take action to say, what can I do? How can I be a better parent to you? And, you know, let's work on something constructive. Like, well, you know, here's what you can do. You know, like, here are the things that will help. And hopefully we can get to a place where it's like Chris and I, where we were volatile and things were unhealthy and toxic and not functioning at the highest frequencies we possibly could. And, you know, I just feel like there's so much potential there, and I see her drowning and I hate it. And I think that's the other part too, is like, I am helpless, right? There's this part that mom could always come in and save the day, and I cannot save the day anymore. And having this experience where I'm away has shifted my perspective to know maybe I never saved the day in the first place. And maybe by not allowing them to stumble and fall and learn how to be their own saviors was, in a way, a disadvantage. You know, so one of my sons, the youngest one, had a doctor's appointment. I scheduled it, did everything, and I was going to rush back to sit in the room, to put on a mask, to make him put on a mask. And I was like, I think he's got this. Like, he's almost 17 years old. Like, I think he can do a virtual appointment where he tells the doctor what his symptoms are. I'm here on call in case you need me, but why rush and see? Let's just see. And he did it. And so I felt like that was an empowering moment for him, that he could do this. Whereas my 25-year-old had one today, and it was like, give me the play-by-play. What do I say? What do I do? And then he too, for the first time, did a virtual appointment himself. I mean, they're 8 years apart and, you know, but I live and learn. Like, I've learned that perhaps my helicopter parenting, my wanting to be right, my wanting to be this perfect mom, who I know I was not, that I got the memo, kids. You know, I did my freaking best. I'm still trying my best. I'm taking on a lot, you know. I'm doing what I can. It's been a tough journey. You guys did not make it easy on me. And I'm still smiling and I'm still laughing, and I still would die for you in a minute. I adore you guys, even when I am, you know, saying or doing things in a tone that I wish I wasn't. And I wish I could always be sweet and kind and know the perfect things and be the most healthy mom to you guys. The reality is that's not the mom you got. You got the mom who it was messed up and said, hey, you know what? I don't like the person I am, and I really am going to work hard at growing. And sometimes I bite off more than I can chew, and sometimes I go all in and I need to do a more gradual approach. And I often don't get it right, but once I start getting it right, I really, really am like, okay, I got this. I know what to do, and I know how to be disciplined and consistent with that. It just takes me a minute to get there. And so I hope to continue to improve upon the relationship with my kids, and find those times to take the walks and have the talks and have them know that at the end of the day, I love them. And if they would just change with me, you know, grow with me and forgive me for the times in which I was less than perfect, which was every day, you know, and know that I am just a human who is just trying her best to survive and help her kids thrive, because I love them so much. And sometimes I do too much, and sometimes I do not enough. And I know that there is that Goldilocks place, and those moments that I am right there, I'm like, yeah, look, she made it, you know, she did it. And I hope they appreciate that at least. So if you have kids out there, or pets, or people you're taking care of, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, friends, kids, foster kids, adopted kids, whatever it is, like, I see you and I hear you. There is a lot of expectations. There is a lot of weight on our shoulders. These kids are growing up on TikTok with parents from Pinterest, and life isn't always, you don't always get the Pinterest mommy. I'm not the Pinterest mommy. I, did my best, and I will stand by that. And I know that I never had the intent to hurt, but I know I do. And I'm sorry for those moments. I really am. And I do validate your story. And I care and love you so much so. So I say all this to say, keep being you and continue to change the way you see the world, and your world will change. If you want to see the negative, if you want to see all the crap, you're going to see it in neon lights. But if you want to see all the good and all the great things, you will see those in all their neon lights. So I say all that to say thank you so much for tuning in today. Give somebody a big smile, give them a compliment, and just watch how they glow up. So thank you. Bye.